Horma. So let's get straight to that then. We have Suzlon. That's the stock on our radar. Remember, the stock has been on a tear of late. It's nearly doubled in 2024 alone. The company recently sold their corporate office building to 361 Arm for around 411 crore rupees. To discuss the sale, what it means to the company going ahead, we're joined by Mr. Himanshu Mody, who is the Chief Financial Officer of the company. Hi, Himanshu. Good morning. Good to see you win. And the street likes what you're doing with regard to the actions, which is shareholder friendly, and it's good for your business as well. So give us a couple of details then with regard to this. How will you use this 400 crores odd? And also, what is the annual rent outgo that you'll have to pay since now you'll be leasing it back?
Well, I think firstly, we are only implementing what we've been telling the street. Monetization of our non-core assets has been a long impending strategy, which is just coming to fruition with the monetization of our corporate headquarters. Of course, the transaction is a sale and leaseback transaction, wherein the operations of the company don't get disrupted. We continue to occupy the space on a lease basis, and whilst we also have sublease rights on the premises, our gross annual outgo will be roughly about in the vicinity of about 45 crores per annum. But of course, net of any third-party rentals that we are able to generate, that should substantially reduce over the next few months.
What will the net number be then? If gross number is 45 crores, net number will be how much?
Difficult to say, but our target would be to at least reduce that by half. Get to close to about 20 to 25 crores per annum of lease rental cost. That, of course, will happen directionally. It won't happen immediately. It might take us a few quarters to get there, but that's the target we set out for ourselves.
Himanshu, good morning. Thank you for joining in, and wanted to ask you about the business trade-off now. But what are the kind of policy pushes that you are seeing for the wind energy business, and how is demand shaping up on the ground? There are a couple of follow-ups that I have on this aspect. But first up, let's get to the demand side of things. How is the demand currently shaping up on ground when it comes to the current quarter?
So I think, there is no dearth of demand. As you know, we have about a 3.8 gigawatts of order book, which we announced at the end of Q1 results. There is a very strong, lineup in terms of order inflow that is coming from current and new prospective customers, which of course we'll keep reporting at the right time. So we see the significant policy push towards wind and traction on ground picking up, both in terms of demand as well as supply and project execution.
That was one of the follow-ups that I wanted to ask you, Himanshu. There was this bit that Mr. Chalasani had highlighted in the earnings call as well about land being a problem for expanding capacity going forward, for not just for Suzlon in particular, but for the entire industry per se. Are you facing any such problems for Suzlon as such? And is there a capacity expansion plan on the anvil for FY25 as well? And if so, by how much?
So I don't think, he meant that land is a problem. Land, of course, in terms of availability, there is significant land parcel available in India for execution of wind projects. Where it is the maximum time for implementation of any project goes towards land acquisition. So it is a time-consuming and tedious process, but it is the availability per se is not a problem in that sense.
No, I meant the land acquisition bit itself. Are you facing any such problems on the ground?
No, again, as I said, it's not a problem. It is just a process that one has to follow. Of course, we are also quite focused on, investing capital into development of infrastructure on the ground in readiness of our projects that we see on the anvil, both for our existing order book and the prospective order book.
All right, since we're talking about the operation, just want to get this out of the way. Your order book, you said, was 3.8 as of now?
That's right. That's what we announced. Of course, that's what we announced at the end of Q1 results. Yes.
All right. And margins you were guiding, I think, for 17 to 18%. And I think the industry you're working with around 4.5 to 5 gigawatt of execution, and you're normally 30% of that. Just to reconfirm the guidance.
So again, just to clarify, that's no guidance from our side. But the numbers that you've quoted are historical trends. That's correct.
Got it.
Other than,
Now
of course, the
let's
4.5 gigawatts, which we believe the industry would do this year.
As I always tell you, Himanshu, we do the math, so we're good with that. You give us how do you see things panning out. So we get that. But Himanshu, I just want to understand a couple of more aspects. Non-core assets, what more are there, for you to sell? Can we expect something in this fiscal itself? The total quantum of non-core assets, how much can we see getting sold in this fiscal?
So I think, not really, nothing of size or substance. I mean, this was the biggest non-core asset that has been identified or historically by the company, something that needs to be monetized, which we've done, successfully currently now, of course. But I don't think this financial year you'll see any other non-core asset monetization that will happen. And in any case, I don't think there is any sizable non-core asset that sits on our balance sheet that may move the needle significantly other than the one that we just done.
Just to close the loop, you have an option to buy this property back as well. Do you plan to exercise this in the future, and at what price will you have to buy it back if you choose to?
So that, of course, time will tell, Nigel. Very, can't really crystal gaze on that one. Of course, how the performance of the company shapes up, how the real estate market looks. We've kept that optionality with us, and of course, closer to the time, is something that the management and the board of the company will deliberate. But we've kept that optionality available with us, and we'll exercise that option based on market dynamics closer to the time.
Any potential order wins on the anvil, Himanshu, in this quarter or in the subsequent quarters as well? And part two of my question being, you did around 274 megawatts of volume in the first quarter. How has the number shaped up in the second quarter, and what do you expect to close the year with?
So on the first one, rest assured, you guys will be the first ones to hear about as and when we get new orders. And of course, on the quarter two results, I think, probably 6 to 7 weeks when we speak again after our board meeting, you will have a Q2 update or an H1 update.
But okay, I'm not asking you for a specific number, but do you see that 274 number being crossed then in the second quarter?
I know you guys are good at maths, but performance is in line with trend or expectation. So no red flags, no concerns.
No red flags, Himanshu. As you said, what you all have promised the street, you all are delivering, and we'll hold you to those numbers. And we look forward to chatting up with you, as you said, 6-7 weeks from now, if not earlier. Thanks a lot for joining in and speaking to us here on CNBC TV18. Well, for the time